I talked about the hierarchy of ideas.
Hmm.
So this is a very, like, your level of empathy and care here, Henry, is actually really powerful. That's going to be something that as you become a teacher, you want to learn to modulate, because if you don't, you're going to burn yourself out. And let me repeat that in a way that is not you focused, but me focused. When I care so deeply that a student succeeds beyond what the student cares about themselves, I actually become very emotionally hurt. And if I do that for 40 students times 3 classes times 3 quarters times 10 years, there are going to be a whole subset of students that don't get through my class in a particular quarter that I'm going to take really personally. And I'm going to, like, I can tell you that has been really emotionally painful. So one of the things that I had to do was be able to scale back without losing the empathy and the kernel, which is I believe in students. And so that hierarchy of ideas that I was talking about, belief, then motivation, then study skills, then content. The reason that that's really important is I find that students that are not yet ready generally don't have belief in themselves. They don't have a number of positive, like, could you imagine if you believed really strongly that you could do everything? Like, you have thousands of messages on a day-to-day basis, like, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. And then reminders that doing it efficiently and effectively is really powerful. And so I think one of the things, like, at the end of the day, it's up to the student, like, no matter what we produce, even if it's well implemented, has a huge following, has a document, etc., even if the students are required to fucking do it, like, students are going to decide for themselves whether or not they're going to buy in fully. We don't have control over that. But I will claim that one of the ways to get buy-in is to remind students how wonderful they are. Like, if I'm thinking about the buy-in problem, that buy-in problem starts with belief. Like, in order to give students that motivation, like, they have to know at the very, very deep level down into their cells that they can do this, that they are successful. And that actually is replicated in research. That's one of the reasons that I have this belief, like, experimentally, like, I came to that realization just from fucking working with students, right?
Right.
And then when I did that, I went out and read about it, and I was like, oh shit, like, here's these neuroscience results. That's exactly what I'm fucking seeing in my classes. Like, students that are not motivated, it's not that they're not motivated, it's that generally they have these major doubts whether or not they can actually do this. And if we can target those doubts in a systemic way that's super effective in building that belief gene, it ends up that the motivation gene becomes a lot smaller. Like, the barrier to entry in the motivation becomes a lot smaller. And then once they have, I can do this, I fucking want to do this, then all the information is at their fingertips, right? And so the real question would be, like,